For aficionados of arcane diplomatic disputes, for fans, that is, of the spectacle of actual grown countries squabbling about stuff which would see toddlers brawling over toys banished without pudding, troubling news from New York. This week, at the headquarters of the United Nations, representatives of Greece and Macedonia will meet, for roughly the billionth time, to address Greece's unhappiness with Macedonia's insistence on calling itself Macedonia. And this time, there are very real fears that some sort of solution may be in the offing. Matthew Nimitz, the veteran American Mandarin who for more than 20 years has had the silliest job in diplomacy, that is, the UN Special Representative for the naming dispute between Greece and the Republic of Macedonia, apparently believes that
people in both countries maybe are ready to hear some solutions that are consistent with national interests, but also have some element of compromise that would solve the problem.
This translates from Diplo-speak approximately as, "For the love of God, can we please straighten this nonsense out so I can spend what remains of my retirement doing something more useful and rewarding, like, for example, sculpting a replica of the pyramids out of custard." For those who have spent the last 27 years paying attention to something more interesting or important, like, for example, anything else at all, a recap. When Yugoslavia disintegrated in the early 1990s, one of the new nations which emerged from the wreckage was what had been its most southerly component, Macedonia. When Macedonia declared itself an independent nation in September 1991, it determined, as other former Yugoslav republics had or would, to crack on as a sovereign state under the same name, thereby saving money on stationery and so forth. Greece, however, objected, and objected, and objected, and objected, and objected. At the core of Greece's fury was the fact that a northern region of Greece is also called Macedonia. Greece insisted that the use of that name by what was now an actual nation implied a territorial claim, which said little for Athens' faith in its armed forces in the vanishingly unlikely event that Skopje ever fancied its chances. Greece blocked Macedonia's admission to the UN until 1993, when it was finally admitted under the ludicrous and widely ignored construct Former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, or FYROM. Greece imposed a 19-month trade embargo, blocking landlocked Macedonia from using the Greek port of Thessaloniki. This only ended when Macedonia agreed, with a near-audible sigh, to redraw its new flag in line with Greek sensitivities. And Greece continues to delay Macedonia's entry into NATO and the EU over the dispute, the security and economy of the Western Hemisphere being obviously less important than what a country of 2 million people calls itself. Various compromises have been suggested, but none have budged Greece, a country which during much of this period has had what might strike the sane observer as more pressing concerns, though the cynical observer may of course note that the invocation of nationalist hobgoblins is a reliable recourse for struggling governments. It does seem possible, however, that the regional political dynamic may recently have shifted to constructive effect, as of last May's election by Macedonia of a centre-leftish government led by a youngish Prime Minister, the two countries have more in common than they have had for a while. Both leaders, Macedonia's Zoran Zaev and Greece's Alexis Tsipras, have declared their desire for a resolution. And not, obviously, before time. The naming of nations and their constituent portions is not an exact science. The currents of history have scattered duplications around the world, and there has been, for example, little clamour from this reporter's fellow citizens of New South Wales for representation in Cardiff. It is astonishing to contemplate the time, energy, money and air miles that have been wasted on this. For Monocle 24, I'm Andrew Muller.